Hi everyone, welcome to the lecture second for module 2. This is I'm not doing any live lecture today, but I'm just going to be giving some hints for project 1A. Whatever I taught you in the last lecture should be sufficient for you guys to be able to solve the project, but I would still like to give you guys some hint so that you guys are in the right direction, so that you don't um, waste a lot of your time doing things that would take you guys in the wrong direction. I mean, it's nothing wrong with learning from your mistakes, but I would like to guide you in the right direction. Um, so let me share my screen, and then I'm gonna start writing some code. Let me open my Android Studio here. The Android Studio seems to be open. So let me share my screen here, right? So I hope you can see my screen here. And I'm gonna be first of all starting with you go to the Canvas page, go to the home page. The first thing I want you guys to do in this project is for you guys to download the starter code here. I want you guys to download this code. So you go to this link. I don't want you guys to write this project from scratch because we already have given you some code for you guys to work with. So please start with the starter code. We did make some updates with the Gradle file as well. So please get started with this. So let's download this. So it is downloaded. I see that this file has been downloaded. Um, and so so the file is over here. Just unzip it in the Mac. I can simply unzip it and you can see the project files here like this, right? So now what I can do is I can put this in my lectures folder. This is usually where I put the code for my lectures. And then I will just say lecture 3. So this is my third lecture. So I'm going to open this code now. I'll go to the Android Studios lectures and go to lecture 3. And then that is the template code that has been given. I'm going to do new window. I do need this code as well. Trust the project. A new window. I don't know why that is asking me again, but a new window. I'm going to put this code on the side. This is the project 1A so that I can get some helpful tips if I get stuck here somewhere while I'm doing this live coding. But I would like to show you guys how to get started with this project and give you guys some helpful hints how you can um, do this more efficiently and the best practices and how you can separate the model view and controllers as is recommended in the project. I'm not going to be very harsh with grading with all the techniques as we progress in this class. You are definitely going to learn more about these separations, model view, model view and controller separation, but I'm going to give you guys some helpful hint. So this is the app and this is the template. So we're going to go to the main activity. Nothing is written here. It's just an empty template. But if you look at the Gradle file over here, we did add something, right? So we added the BNRG listing 4.1, and then also we added all these things that's necessary, and even things that's going to be important for you guys to run the test for project 1C, right? So that's why this is important to download the right template. So I'm going to go and start with, actually, I'm going to help you with the activity main layout from the beginning. And I'm going to help you with coding all this stuff for the layout from the beginning. So let's go to activity main.xml. It's going to go to the design view. So this is in the design view. So let's start working with the design view and make how the design is going to look like. Um, Let me stop sharing my screen. Let me just grab some water real quick. I'm sorry for that delay. I'm back. I'm going to share my screen again and start writing the code. Hopefully you guys can see the screen. Okay, so we're going to go to this and zoom this a little bit. And we're going to make the layout. I'll explain some certain things here to guide you guys in the right direction here. So we will change this constraint layout. So you will learn about constraint layout in, I'm not sure, I think it's in chapter 8, 9, 10, somewhere more about this. And this is a very good way of writing your layout, but we're going to do the linear layout right now. We're going to just work with this. So we're going to convert this view to a linear layout, and then we'll apply it. We do want a vertical linear layout and not a horizontal. So we're going to convert this for the linear layout, convert orientation to vertical. So we're going to do both match parent, match parent. The gravity, like I showed you in the first lecture, we're going to add it in the center. The gravity is going to be in the center. So it's going to be in the center because I want this hello world right now come to the middle. I want things to grow from the middle, right? I don't want from the top down here. I want things to start growing from the middle, right? So I put that in the center. So let's do this. Let me delete this. And actually, I do need a text view. Actually, let me add a new text view. That is going to be the question. And then I am gonna wrap content here. And then I'm gonna wrap content for the height as well. So wrap content for the height as well. I thought this had the gravity here. Yes, so I think this linear layout changed to wrap content. For some reason, we want to do match parent and then do match parent again so that this text view goes to the middle. I think that's match parent, center, vertical. I think that's correct. And then we want to do for the text view, we want to name this as ID as question Australia for now. So we'll just name this question Australia, and then it will ask us to refactor it. We'll just refactor it now, and then we'll do the wrap content here. Not, I don't know why it changed automatically here, but we're going to do wrap content, a question Australia, and then we're also going to add a text here, right? We don't want it to say the hello world. So we're going to add some text. I don't know where the text is. I just need Android dot text, right? Not all this stuff here. Direction. I just simply need a text here. Yeah, I don't know where it is. Text. Why can't I find the text here? I see a tools text, but I need an Android text. Let me just try Android. We'll just do the text here. It doesn't show it. So let me try this in the code view. I don't want to waste too much of your time here in this. Oh, I'm sorry. I think we already have a texture. That's why it's not showing here. Yes, so this gets tricky when you're doing live coding. We already do have a texture. That's why it's not showing the text here. So let me remove this. And then for the text, we're gonna add the question, right? So for this, we're gonna just say add a string value, and then we're just gonna say question Australia. And it can be similar as the ID, it can be different. This is just gonna go to the string.xml file, right? So we're gonna say Canberra is the capital of Australia. I think that was the question. So we're gonna just say, sorry, actually this is we have since for which is the capital of Australia. And then we're gonna just do okay, then add that, and that question is gonna show over here, right? So what do we need here, right? We need 4 buttons with the answers here, right? So that's gonna be a vertical linear layout. So we're gonna add a vertical linear layout here. And then we're gonna say we're gonna do wrap content for this. We don't want match parent, right? We don't want it to take space everywhere. We just want to take space as much as it needs it. Now we're gonna add the answer buttons, right? So we're gonna add 4 buttons in this vertical layout. So we're gonna add 1, 2, 3, and 4 buttons here in the screen, right? So we want to add 4 buttons. So let me look at some properties of the button. So it has to be match parent wrap content. I don't want to do match parent. I don't want to do something like this. Oh, sorry, I don't think it matters too much actually. So yeah, it's fine. Even if it takes yeah, so it has to be match parent and wrap content, right? So let's name the ID as answer one button here for now. You will have to follow this more strictly for project 1C since we're gonna doing test scripts. So you'll have to follow the exact pattern that is required in project 1C. But for now, we're just gonna say answer one button, right? So we're just gonna name this answer one button. And then we're also gonna add a text here. Um, and for the text, we're gonna add answer one. We can just say answer one, right? So this is not a button. Answer one is gonna be, we're gonna say Brisbane. Brisbane is one of the cities in Australia. I know about it because I used to watch cricket growing up, and I was a big fan of Australia growing up. It's not a useful details for you guys, but anyway, so let's move on to the second one. We can do the same thing, match parent, and it's gonna be wrap content, right? So this is what we did here. For the ID, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna say answer to button, and then we're gonna refactor it. And then we're gonna put, for the text, we're gonna put answer to, string value will say answer to, and then we'll put Canberra. And this is the true answer, by the way. Canberra is the capital of Australia. So we're gonna put that as the second answer. The same with the third one. We're gonna say answer 3, and then refactor it. And then we're gonna, oh, sorry, it's answer 3 button. We're gonna change this again. And then we're gonna, I just want to make everything consistent. And for the string, we want to put answer 3, and then we're gonna say Melbourne. So Melbourne, we're gonna put that, right? So we have this one. For the fourth button, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna say answer 4 button, and then we'll refactor it. And then we're gonna put the text as, we're gonna say string, we're gonna say answer 4, and then we'll put Sydney as the fourth, which is the capital city, right? Which is, this is not true. All these are false except for Canberra, right? So we have this, we need 2 more buttons, right? But now this button has to be laid out horizontally. So let me just close this tab, and then let me add another layout here. It has to be a horizontal layout here. I hope I can get it outside of here. I can't. So it's above it. I want this below this. I can't get it. I'm just gonna settle for that and try to get it out of here, right? So that's out of there now. So do a horizontal button, right? So in the button, we want to, sorry, in this horizontal layout, first of all, we don't want this to match parent, right? We just want this, the height to be wrap content. We don't care too much about, sorry, we do want this to be match parent. We don't want the layout, um, we don't want the layout width to be wrap content, but we do want it to be a match parent, right? So just be careful on that. I'll explain why, because we're going to add some spacing there. And then we're going to add 2 buttons here. In here, we're going to add the 50/50 button and the reset button. So we'll go here and then add the 50/50. So let's start with the, and then we'll also add a reset button, right? So we have 2 buttons in here. So let's change, look at the attributes of this button. So for this button, we're going to do wrap content, which is true. We can remove this layout weight. Let's remove the layout weight. We don't need this layout weight for now. Let's remove that. And then the same thing for here as well. We're going to remove the layout weight. What did I just do? So let me remove this layout weight. I think I removed the ID there, which we're going to fix. So we just do something like that, right? So The main thing I wanted to show you guys in this video was this concept of spacing, which I've not introduced to you guys, is we want like a space here at the top. We want a space here at the top, and then we want some space um, after this capital. We want a space between the capital and these four options, and we want another space after these options and these two buttons at the bottom, and then also a spacing. So we want consistent spacing, right? So what we need is like four spacing in four different areas at the top here, right? So let's put the spacing first. I said we need spacing between the top linear layout and question Australia, right? So we need some spacing at the top so that you can see the spacing over there, right? The second spacing that we need is between the question and these four buttons, right? So we're going to put some spacing between here, between these two things. So there's some spacing between there. And then we want some spacing between these four buttons and the vertical and the horizontal buttons, right? So we need some spacing between here. So we're going to put some spacing here as well. So we're gonna just say spacing. Here it went in here, but we want this outside here. So we want another spacing here, and then we want the final spacing after this horizontal, right? So after this button, we want more spacing, but all of the spacing has to have equal space, right? So we're just gonna put the spacing here for now. It didn't go in here, but and then take it outside. Just took it outside. So we put all the spacing, right? So I want to introduce you guys the concept of layout weight. So what I want to show you guys is for this, we're going to use layout weight for spacing. So what the weight basically does, if you have these spacings and then you give a weight of 1 for each of these, then it's going to give you equal spacing between all of this, right? So let me show you what I mean by this, right? And the way to do it is make the height 0 dp. So basically what you're doing here is you are setting up the height 0 so that you can use the layout weight to push this spacing, right? So you're just trying to use the layout weight to push this and not using the height, right? So you just use the weight of 1 to push this down here, right? And if we put four of these layout weight as one, like this one, this one, this one, then it will give us a consistent spacing. And if you make the layout height as a 0 here, right? So we're gonna do the same thing here. So layout height, we're gonna set it to 0 dp, and then we're gonna add the weight to 1 basically. So that's how you do it. So this added some consistent spacing here, equal spacing here and here. So spacing of 1. And we're gonna do the same thing with the third spacing here, right? So we're gonna do 0 dp, and then we're gonna do weight here. And then the weight, how much it's gonna push is a consistent spacing of 1. And the same thing, right? We're gonna give a consistent spacing at the bottom as well. So we're gonna put this to 0 dp here again, and then it already has a layout weight of 1. So basically this so what that did was when you put the layout height of 0, it just makes the height of 0, but then pushes with a layout weight, a consistent weight of 1 for each of these spaces, right? So 1, 2, 3, and 4 different spaces here, right? So we have these 4 different spaces. So we're almost done here. We're almost done with the buttons. Actually, we have not named these buttons here. So let me do that real quick. The first button, we're going to name it 50/50, right? So this button is going to be 50/50 button. And then in this button, we're going to add the string as 50/50, right? So we're going to add a string, hit the text here. We're going to refactor here, and then we're going to add a string value of 50/50, right? So we'll just say 50/50, and then we'll just say here, well, that's the text we need, so that's going to be 50/50. We're going to do OK, and then run this. Actually, I'm going to name this 50/50 button. Just, I think it's better, it's more cleaner and more understandable, right? So we have this button named 50/50, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to say this button is going to be reset button. And then it didn't ask me for reset, but it's okay. We're just gonna put the text here, and we're gonna say reset, maybe value or something like that. Reset value is just gonna be reset. reset, right? So that's the name that we gave for this button here, reset, right? But all the spacing and vertically is correct, but the spacing here is still not right, right? So we need to fix that. So how do we do that, right? We're going to add some spacing here, right? So we're going to add some spacing between 50-50. We're going to add 3 spaces. We're going to add 1 space here, 1 space in the middle between 50-50 and reset, and 1 space on the side, right? So we're going to add 3 spacings here, right? So we're going to add 1 spacing here, and then we're going to add a 1 in the middle between these 2 buttons, and then we're going to add a final spacing here, right? So that's what we're going to do. And then it looks like it fixed it, right? Let me double check it if I'm doing everything that's correct, right? Spacing, it so now we need to put the spacing here in the height. So we need to set up, although this is doing it correctly, but this is a good standard to put it to 0 dp so that its height is 0, but layout weight is the one that is pushing it to the side, right? Similarly, what we did with the vertical, we are doing it with the horizontal. Same with here, layout weight to 0 dp. It's not going to make any changes, but it's a good practice to do that, right? So we'll just do 0 dp. So now you do this, the layout should be done, right? So basically the new concept that you learned was the concept of spacing, right? If you want a spacing of consistent size everywhere, in the layout, then you want to put in vertical, you want to put height at 0 dp and layout weight is 1, and you want to do that for all the spacing, right? There's 1 spacing here, there's 2 spacing, 3 and 4 spacing, and we did the same thing. We added 3 spacing for vertical, made 0 dp for the layout width, and then I added a layout weight 1, and it just pushed it, right? So this gives you a consistent spacing. So I believe we are done with we are done with the layout here, right? So that was the big thing I wanted to show you guys, how to make this layout weight. And I hope you learned about the spacing today and how to use the layout weight, right? So that's the first thing I wanted you guys to learn. Actually, and before I even do anything with the code, I do want to show you how the project is going to look like, right? So I just want to show you, this is the code that I've already written. I just want to show you how this project is going to look like, so that you see how to proceed and how to do this project, right? So let's look at this project real quick. So I'll let this run. I hope it doesn't take that long to get the project started. Still launching the device here. So it should be running. Let me close this so that you can see a bigger screen here. You can see it's starting. So now what we want, the only thing we want in this project is when you click this one, it should give a red. And when you click it again, it should go back to being not selected, right? And then same. And then when you select another one, it should deselect this one and then select this one, right? So if I click this one, it should make it this from red to blue and then make this red, right? So just do that, and then you can deselect it if you click it twice, right? So select this, select this, select this, deselect it, it's gone, right? And then we're supposed to have this 50-50 button that's basically going to take away two of the wrong answers. So Brisbane and Melbourne, they're not the capital, and it should be able to select this still, select this, but now I should not be able to click these two, Brisbane and Melbourne, right? So now I should also be able to reset this and take it back to normal. So this is all the project 1A is going to be doing. So that's all I wanted to show you guys. Let me just put this away. We don't need that anymore. So that's all I wanted to show you guys. So let's go back to start writing the code here. Actually, I'm not going to be writing a whole lot of code here. Maybe show you guys a couple of things, but I'm going to show you guys some of the tricks. I'm going to talk about some of the tricks, right? So this is like a template that has been given to us. We have made the activity main .xml, and so you are done with creating a layout, right? So what we're going to do in the beginning is we're going to create a binding, right? So we're going to create a binding. We're going to do a private let init var because we're going to initialize it later. We're going to say binding, and then it already gave me a suggestion, activity main binding. Yes, we want to, yes, this is the right one because we want to bind this main activity, right? And it already gave me this name, activity main.binding. So this will relate us to this thing, to this activity binding, right? So that's how we want to start it. So activity main binding, right? So this is fine. On create, this is saving our previous instance. And then now here we want to do it the new way, right? We don't want to do that r.layout.bind. So we want to do it the new way. So binding equals to, since we have not initialized, it's still null right now. We will do activity main binding inflate. What do we want to inflate it? We are this app compat already gives us with this layout inflator. So basically that's what this is doing. This is inflating this XML file into the layout. This is all that is doing, which I mentioned several times. And now we're just gonna set this content in the screen, right? We're gonna set this binding in the screen, the root of this binding in the screen. So this should now um, show the layout that we have created on the screen here. So I just launched it. It should show the layout in the screen. Hopefully it does. Maybe let's wait a little bit. Still running. While this is running, I still want to continue writing the code here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a list of answers, right? We have, actually, we do need to create, we do have the answers, don't we? So this is running, right? I just wanted to show you guys that this is running. Nothing works here right now. We have not created. It's just a plain layout that we have just created. But we do need to go to string.xml just to check some things. So let me go to the values, go to string XML, and you do see that there we have 4 answers here, right? We have answer 1, answer 2, answer 3, and answer 4, right? So we have these 4 answers. So what we are going to do here is we're going to create a list of answers, right? We're going to create a list of answer. We're going to call it answer list. And then we're going to just say list of, and then here we're going to put the 4 answers, right? So we're going to say answer, and this should have been given to you in this code. We have these things here. So basically in this answer, we need 2 things that are required. We need to provide if that answer is correct or not. And basically we need to give the string resource ID, which I'll show you how to do. And then when we first initialize it, it's going to be enabled. That means it should be able to be clicked, and it is not selected. It's false. It's not selected in the beginning, right? It is enabled. It can be clicked, but it is not selected. It's still nobody has selected it, right? So what we're going to do is going to do answer. We're going to do r string dot answer 1, and then we're going to do false, right? Because the first answer, as you can see in the layout, was Brisbane, and the first answer is false, right? So we're going to say false, and then we're going to continue making this list, right? The second answer, we're going to say r dot string dot answer 2, and then that's going to be true because the second answer is Canberra. I believe that was Canberra. The second answer is Canberra, which is the correct answer. Now we're going to do the same thing for the third answer. Let me just copy and paste these 2 things, just make it easier. And we're going to say answer 3 and then say false. There's only one true answer here. And then we're going to do a hard coding right now, but later we'll show you guys how to do using the database in chapter 2, right? So we're just hard coding right now and just giving this data ourselves, but we're going to do it the right way later, right? So these are the 4 answers that we have. We have answer 1, answer 2, answer 3, and answer 4, right? So this is how we create a list. But also we have 4 buttons, right? We also need to make a list of those buttons, right? So how do I make a list of that button? We're gonna say something like, actually we have to initialize it, right? Here we will say outside of onCreate, we're gonna create a private late init var. That means we're going to initialize it later, and then we should be able to change it. We're going to say button list, and then we're going to say list of buttons, right? So this is going to be like Java. We're giving the data type. It's coming from Android.widget. If you make sure that you import that button list of buttons, right? So we're just getting the list of button here. And then now we're gonna make a button list as well. Button list equals to list of, and then we're going to say binding. So we already have the button, right? The button You can find the buttons in this layout, right? It's binded here. The first button is called answer 1 button, answer 2 button, answer 3 button, and answer 4. There are 4 buttons with this name, right? We can simply say binding answer 1 button, and then we can say binding answer 2 buttons, binding answer 3 button, binding dot answer 4 button, right? So we have these 4 buttons, and then we just name this button answer. So we created a list of these buttons, right? So we have these 2 things, right? We have the answers and we have the button. Now we should be able to do certain things with these buttons. When we click a certain button, say we create a reset button, we create a 50-50 button, or we click these buttons, then it should look at these answers and do something, right? So what is that something? I'm not gonna write the whole code right now, but I'm gonna show you guys, give you guys some hints what you guys need to do, right? So basically, first of all, I taught you guys how to use zip, right? So basically what you will be doing is you need to zip the answer list, these answer list with this button list. So, and this is one way to do it. I encourage you guys to come up with your own creative idea. You need to zip answer list with button list. So what that does is it will give you something like this, right? It will give you these answers, right? This will connect answer 1 with button 1, right? And then it will have make a list of this, right? You'll make a list of this tuple answer 2 with button, sorry, I said but here, button 2. And then for answer 3, you'll be saying something like that, right? This is how the list is going to look like, but there's going to be 4 of these. I don't want to write all of these here, but we'll have 4 of this button, right? So now you can loop over these things, right? You can loop over this button using the for each. You can just do, after you zip it, immediately you can just put like a dot and just do dot for each, and you can loop over these things, right? And now it will give us answer 1, button 1 individually. So you can loop over these buttons. So after you loop over these buttons, if anyone, while you are looping over this button, if anyone is clicking on any of these buttons, right? So while you are looping inside it, right? So if anyone clicks any of the button, you need to set a listener, right? You need to set a listener in those buttons. So after you do the for each, inside the braces for the for each, you can set a button dot set on click listener, right? So if someone clicks, say, button 1 now it's going to go inside this listener, right? So what we're going to have to do is if the button is clicked, we will need to if the button is clicked, we need to make, if the button has not been clicked before, right? It's being clicked for the first time, we will need to make is selected equals to true. And if it has not been selected before, then if it has been selected before, then it has to make it true or false, right? Or basically, you can instead of saying true or false, you can just say this button, whatever button that was clicked, button that is selected. Actually, we don't have this is selected for the buttons, do we? We have it for the answers. So we're gonna have to make that answer dot is selected equals to the opposite of what was before, right? So if you has not been selected, it will be selected now, and if it has not been selected, then it will be selected now, right? So basically that's what we're gonna have to do, right? Also, after that button has been clicked, every other button that has not been clicked should be set is selected to false. Right, so basically you'll have to filter, how do you do this is, to do this, you will have to filter every button that has not been selected. So you'll be filtering. So you'll be filtering through all the answers, not the button, but every answers. And then if it has not been selected, then you'll have to set this is selected to be false, right? So we'll actually see this in the next class. I'll be actually writing this code, but I'm just giving you guys some hints, right? And then here, remember, we are using the model view controller framework here. You are not changing here anything to do with the buttons here. Remember, the only thing you are changing is to do with the answers, because answer is a model, right? But the buttons has to do with the view. So when it has been clicked, the only thing you do is regarding the answer, right? Nothing to do with the button, but you're gonna have to update the view. Since these answers has been changed, you'll have to update the view. So how are you gonna update the view, right? So to update this view, you're gonna have to call this function. Maybe there's an update view function. After you're done changing this is selected buttons for all the buttons for the answers, and in the update view, what you're gonna be doing is in this function or whatever maybe you wanna, however you write it, you are basically gonna um, do the same thing. You're gonna zip the answer list, zip the answer list with the button list. Going to zip the answer with the button list. So now here in this function, you will be updating the view. So you didn't do anything. You didn't update any of the buttons in any of these, right? But here in the update view, you'll be updating so that the controller and the model and the views are separated, right? So that we follow the MVC pattern. So we zip the answer list with the button list, and then we're gonna loop through it like the last time. Loop through this zipped list, answer list, and button list. And we're gonna, and while we loop through this, we will button dot is enabled is gonna be equals to answers dot enabled. So if the answer is enabled, then the button will also be enabled, right? And the same thing with is selected, right? If the button is selected, if the answer is selected, then we will do, but the button is also going to be selected, right? And then you will need to, inside this update view function, you will also need to, so there's a function that has been given to you in this template code, update color. So what you'll be doing in this update color is you'll be simply passing that button. So if you simply say button dot update color, then based on if it's selected or not, if it's enabled or not, it's going to simply change the colors, right? So it's simply going to change the colors to red or blue or deselected based on how it has been set up, right? So that's all you need to do. And by the way, you need to call these update view functions even if nothing is clicked, because remember, this update color is going to update the color of the button to those blue color in the beginning before anything is even clicked on the screen. So make sure to do this, use this update view function, right? So that's another hint I would give you here. um, so what's next, right? So we need to do another, so I think we're done with the four buttons, the vertical buttons, right? The answer button. So but we also need to do binding dot lifeline button. So if anyone clicks the lifeline button, you need to put an on click listener. So now what do we do when someone clicks on the lifeline button, right? So first of all, um, you need to filter um, if someone clicks on the lifeline button, you need to filter um, two answers that are not correct. So you need to remove those. You need to filter those out, right? And then sorry, you need to take those two things that are incorrect, right? And then you can say like take two of those, right? I showed you guys this function in class. You can take two of these incorrect answers, and then you can loop through it using for each, and then make um, make um, make the answer list, then make the answer that are incorrect as is enabled has to be false, is false because it's not enabled anymore, nobody can click it, and is selected also has to be false here, also has to be false here. And then after this has been clicked, you need to update the view again. You need to call the update view function because the view has to be updated again after these changes has been made, because it's going to go back here, then it's going to change the color, you're going to do all kinds of things, right? So it's going to loop through this and it's going to deselect the buttons and select the, it's going to update the view basically. But here you're only changing the model, right? We're only changing the answer list so that you're doing clear separation of model and view. And also in this update view function, you also want to make sure if binding that you want to also make sure to disable the lifeline button, right? So you want to do binding dot lifeline button is enabled. This is only, it can only be enabled if all the answer list dot all, this is also the functional programming trick, if all of them, all the answer list is enabled, right? So if all of them are enabled, then this will also be enabled. But if any of them is disabled, that means those two of those buttons are disabled, then this lifeline button will be disabled. So I think this is all the hint I'm gonna give you guys for this project. In the same way that you did with this lifeline button, try to make the reset button. The reset button probably is the easiest button. I will let you guys do it. So I try to give you guys some hints here. Obviously it's not clear just without writing the code. It's not super clear here what I'm saying, but just I hope you guys keep this in mind what I did here, and then you can use this hints to finish this project. And like I said, I'm not going to be super strict. I know you guys are still familiarizing yourself with the model view controller framework, and you guys are learning about that. So I will show you guys how to do this, and after that, in the later projects after I show you, I expect you guys to separate the model view and the control, right? But please use these hints. I did show you guys the layout. I showed you guys how to make the layout, how to put the string values, and showed you a little bit about what this answer.kt is doing. And also use this util function, right? You don't have to change the colors yourself, right? So you will please use this function here. And the way to use this function is you simply do button.update color, right? So it should call this. If you simply do that, it should work, right? So please try doing that, and please use these hints for this project. You don't have to do it exactly the way I do it. I do expect some functional programming that you're using zip and for each and take and drop and these functions to complete your project. And I wish you the best. I hope this project won't be too much of a hassle, and that you'll be able to do it and learn something from it. So thank you so much for your time. I'm going to stop recording, and thank you. I hope you have a great day today. And we won't have a lecture. We won't be having a lecture today at 2 p.m. So all the best for the project. Bye-bye.